Hello, I'm Patty Laurel, welcoming you to the first panel discussion for the Lopez Digital Media Series. Today we're talking about using social media for social change. Activists used to take to the streets. Now most of them log on to Facebook, changing your profile picture in support of the RH bill, linking to arguments for charter change, signing e-petitions for a greener Manila. Does that make a difference? Or do clicks and likes diminish true activism? That's what some people think. Then again, Arab Spring would not have happened without Facebook and Twitter. Spreading the word via social media can be a powerful mover. But how do we affect real change? Let's examine ourselves. Are you a slacktivist? Do you just gripe online and provide no real solutions? Or have you made things happen using social media? Intramuros tour guy Carlos Celdran certainly has. He is all over Twitter and Facebook as a shameless promoter of all things great about Manila. He's also quite vocal about his advocacies. And joining our discussion are three Ateneo students who of course navigate through social media themselves. We have Apa Agbayani, the editor-in-chief of the Ateneo's official student publication, The Guidon. We have Regine Cabato. She is also a Guidon staff writer who tackles national issues, and also covering national issues is Robin Dagle. They each have their own causes. Now let's see how their online life figures in furthering their own advocacies. First of all, Carlos, thank you for braving the crazy Katipunan traffic to be with us.
The Republic of Quezon City.
All the way from Manila, here in the flesh. So thank you so much. And you borrowed my umbrella.
Yeah,
I saved you from a wet look. All right, now Carlos, first of all, let's just go back to the basics. What would define an activist? Like when you hear the word activist, what comes to mind?
The word act.
Act, okay.
Which exists in real time and real space. I mean, what I think what happens online is that we do create some sort of a community spirit. We do spread ideas better. But nothing really can replace going out and doing things in real time and space.
Yes. How about for you guys? I mean, especially as students in Ateneo, does it take a bit of more effort to actually see someone claim that he's an activist as opposed to just someone griping online?
Actually, it is, I think so, because the extent of rallies in Ateneo, for example, are like gatherings in front of Gate 2.5. Which are only like an hour and a half, and we don't really feel the effect afterwards.
Okay.
Any tangible
effect? I do agree, but then again, it is social media is necessary in gathering people. However, it's a different time and space. Parang it's another area altogether, and it's really different when you physically are there and when you're physically present. So there's a lot more meaning when you actually act on what you say online.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Carlos, maybe for you, when did you actually have that realization that, you know what, social media is actually an effective platform? I mean, you've always been very vocal about your advocacies, no secret about that. But when did you decide, you know what, I'll just put it on Facebook, I'll put it on Twitter, and see how people respond?
Well, it started with my tours. So getting people out to come to my performances, to come to my events that I was doing downtown in Intramuros. Social media really saved me a lot of effort simply because I didn't have to retype everything on a cell phone and keep sending it one at a time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or worse, back then. I'm sure some of us remember this thing called the fax machine. Yeah. We had to do that in order to get our messages and in order to create that sort of community spirit, right? But now, with the age of social media in a different way, I do have to say that when it comes to my advocacies and really getting things done, it acts more as a vehicle. It was more effective as a vehicle in my advocacies rather than just spreading out information when it came to my damaso. Okay. Number one, I did need the damaso in real time and space. No matter how many times I've typed out the word damaso on Facebook or damaso on Twitter, it does not replace the fact of wearing a costume, entering Manila Cathedral, looking at all of those bishops in their face, and putting the word damaso on a cue card. I mean, that would not be effective online.
Yes.
But having said that, after that all was done, and I went to jail, and everything happened, I did think in a weird way, social media saved me. Because now what I did in that church was not allowed to be seen in only one way. If this happened 10 years ago, where I believe information was only coming from one direction, like in news media or television or so forth and so on, my point of view, other people's points of view would not have been able to get heard. And I'm sure at some point I would have gotten into a lot of trouble.
Yes.
But social media was able to sort of come in, show the support for what I did, show alternate ways of viewing the whole thing. And so in a weird way, Damaso was only effective through social media, even though I had to do it in time and space.
Yes, so it has to actually go together.
It's
not
a
like
good
one or the other.
It's not one or the other. If you find a good combination where it works all together, it's even better.
All right, now maybe you could ask the students here. What do you think separates a genuine activist from someone who just had a bad day and just, encountered someone he didn't like and just wanted to rant? Like, when you run through your Facebook timeline, how do you know that this is a genuine call for change or just someone who's bitter?
I mean, it really takes someone to verify the information. And
Correct.
for example, you see the status message, but when you share something, you can write something about it.
Yes.
You can really see if a guy knows what he's posting or if he's just going with the flow, just nakikisama.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's one of the pitfalls of social media also, that some people in social media don't get to actually verify the information. Since right now information is super high when people just get caught up with these things.
And it's so quick to retweet. It's so quick to just share without really reading
And you could be
the
retweeting
article.
the wrong thing.
Yes, and you could have your Lola in the United States panicking over something that's completely false. There's that responsibility. Now maybe, Carlos, we could talk about the flip side. Like you mentioned that it was good for you to have the support. But I'm sure you've also experienced wherein, it worked somehow to your disadvantage, where people are just so quick to comment so boldly without knowing the facts. Did you ever have that experience?
Oh yeah, all the time. And I'm experiencing it right now, like now that I'm a tourism consultant of Manila. The cynicism that just flows out of the internet. Oh, you'll never get it done.
Yes.
Oh, get rid of all the snatchers first. Oh, make stop the seat up with this money like pee. And I'm like, looking at it, okay, you're tweeting from Dasmariñas village. Like, I'm really going to take your advice, right? So, I mean, you have to also realize, I keep telling people, like, Facebook may be real, but it's not really real.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't really take what you read too much to heart. Because it's really, you just turn the internet off and there are birds still in the sky. Rain is still wet, flowers still smell nice. Some people can just get too much into it because it's such an alternate world. It's so virtual that you lose yourself.
Yes.
So the challenge here now, especially in this generation that's growing up with it, is to not lose themselves in
That's
it
right.
and to realize that you are not your avatar.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's actually nice. Now, maybe Appa could share, because I understand that the Gaidon has its own Twitter page. So how do you go about it? I'm sure you receive a flood of good and bad. So how do you moderate it?
Yeah. What we do usually is really promote our stories primarily and bring out like breaking stories on recent events. And we also try to get the pulse from the student body, like what do you think of these stories? And there's been a lot of discussion. It's always been very interesting. Like if you're familiar with the Dollhouse, which is the LGBT organization of the Ateneo, we recently published an article about them, and the comment section was just full of was a really interesting discussion, really rich discussion about whether or not they were really representing LGBTs well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
Well.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we can go back to the question of likes. And, it's very easy to just click like when you think about it. So do you think that that's an honest gauge of whether, your status is actually effective when you see 1,000 likes? Or do you think it's just something that in passing, people just do simply because a lot of people are talking about it? How do you gauge that whole idea of measuring your social media status?
For me, there are two instances when I like things online.
Okay.
And the first is when I see something that amuses me. So there's an impulse, to like things. But the second is when I actually get to think when I see something or when I see a post, and it gets me thinking. And if I like the kind of stimulus that it brings, then I like that kind of post. I think with a lot of people, it's so easy for them to like on impulse, and then they don't know what it really means. But also when it comes to serious posts, like especially those regarding social issues or those regarding, say, current events, a like could mean a lot because it is really telling of how many people have read it, how many people think, how people think of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would say I don't know actually if they're using the right word. Like, I mean, I'm sure I have a weird feeling they're going to start changing it in Facebook soon. Because sometimes when I do it, I think the word should be engaged.
Oh, that's right.
yes.
Because,
Yes, yes.
sometimes, I mean, like, my cat is on the way to the veterinarian because it was puking blood. Like,
So
right?
out of context
And you're like, why are you
sometimes.
liking this? But I actually do that because I want to get an update on what happened to that cat.
Yes, yes.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that I exactly like what's
Yes,
going
yes.
on, but I'm engaged in it, so I'd like to get an update on it,
Yeah.
So it's not exactly really like even if I approve of it, So for some odd reason, I think they're going to change the word like. Because it doesn't quite fit it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, when you think about it, there are a lot of posts that really don't garner the word like, and it seems very odd to
My
actually
Lola
like
died.
it.
Like,
yeah.
like.
Condolence, then you go condolence. And then someone likes that condolence.
Facebook death, that's a weird one. Like, but how do you deal with people who died on Facebook?
Okay, maybe we could go back to the term slacktivist. Now, it's a strong term. When you hear it, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to be really called a slacktivist. But do you think that a lot of young people now are slacktivists in that sense?
I think so. I think a lot of people are engaged at a very surface level when it comes to issues. I don't know if everybody is really knowledgeable about problems and are really like doing anything in relation to the problems.
Yes.
Then you should also remember that social media, especially in the Philippines, only covers the so-called top 1%. Or
Correct,
those,
correct.
in the upper class. So you should also remember that there's more to that. There's more to this level. There's more going on below that.
Okay, Carlos, maybe, as your experience as being an activist and also, acting as an activist, not only just,
Action,
the action.
The people forget the word action is the whole part of it. But I wouldn't consider slacktivism, because slacktivism means like you just don't care. I mean, the part when it becomes a problem is when it becomes hypocritical.
That's right.
Like all of a sudden you see somebody's Facebook status post, PETA, save the animals, and then you look at his other pages, loves Brothers Burger, loves KFC, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So like, as long as there's no hypocrisy factor with it, there's nothing wrong with somebody being updated on the issues.
That's right. Actually, it's nice that you mentioned that. There has to be some sort of consistency with the things you say. And it's not as easy as just sharing something because your friend shared it. There's really the follow-through afterwards. Okay, how about you? Like, what is your take on this whole slacktivism?
I do have a question. Jumping off of what Robin said, he mentioned that social media advocacies only cover usually the middle and upper class. So my question is there a need probably to solve a discrepancy between public opinion and online opinion?
Of course, absolutely, absolutely. Just to show the last election, I voted for Gilbert Teodora, who online won everything hands down, and we were the last candidate when it came to reality.
Yes.
Yeah, there has to be, but that comes with public education. That comes with sort of information. Actually, I do think that the masses are online. They're just there for different reasons.
That's right.
If you go to the average sort of internet store in Tondo or something, I'm sure half of them are playing World of Warcraft. Half of them are probably just on Facebook to talk to their Lola abroad.
Yes,
A lot of them are not really in there to find meaning in their life, the
Yes.
way that people from the AB classes probably do, to escape from the sort of quiet desperation from living in a gated community.
Okay.
They say that really well. Yeah.
Everyone's like, is that me? I'm not watching you. Okay, as we wrap up, now this is actually, a very nice discussion. Hopefully the people watching at home will, it will stir something in their hearts. And if you've been a slacktivist, it's never too late to actually just drop the slack and just be an activist.
Yeah.
Just make it simple. If you have your heart into it, then just go out and speak your mind. So maybe for you guys, what would you say would be your take home for people watching? How could you transform from just being a slacktivist to actually making your words count?
Go offline. That's simple. Just walk out of the door, walk out of the gated community, and see what you can do.
Yeah, very simple.
Step away, step away.
I mean, if people could do videos of themselves on social media, if they could do posters on social media, if they could translate their passion in social media, why not do it outside? I mean, you can do a lot outside. You can translate that passion for much better advocacies outside of your computer room.
Okay,
Yes.
and Regine?
I do agree with that. I really think people have to act on what they say. Practice what they preach, so to speak. I think that there are a lot of ways to do that, and going to school, being in different sorts of networks, both at home and in school, gives you an avenue to do that as well. And that it's not just online. So I think people should tap into that.
Okay, and lastly, Carlos.
I think also, aside from getting offline, which I absolutely agree, just be yourself. Because a lot of times, a lot of people come up with a persona that is completely and absolutely different in real life from what they are. And even some selfies are completely photoshopped. Like, it's not even you, right? Yeah, so I guess being yourself online is the number one thing, because sincerity can be felt. And I think that's actually one of the most important things, and one of the gifts that social media can give us, is that it gives us a platform for sincerity.
Okay, so thank you so much to the students of Gaidon, of course, and to Carlos Celdran.
Thanks, guys.
So there you guys, we are ending this discussion. Hopefully you won't be a slacktivist. Put the word act and just be yourself and go all the way with your convictions, and I'm sure it will be very meaningful whenever you post, and hopefully those likes will transform a lot of people who support your cause. So again, thank you, and that's it for today.